So this graphic novel was pretty good, pretty solid. It leaves you wanting more, but is that a good thing? Hello everyone, welcome to Before You Read, the series in which I do reviews on things, talking about what I like, what I didn't like, and if I recommend the book or not. Today, we're going to be talking about Toph and the Metalbending Academy, the new one-shot comic, which apparently is a part of a trilogy for girl power. I didn't realize this until very recently. I thought that this was just one-shots, and I didn't really realize that, yes, every single one-shot has a female protagonist. But anyway, let's get into the non-spoiler review for Toph's Metalbending Academy, and then we'll do a spoiler review later on. Check back on my channel to see after you read Toph's Metalbending Academy. So, what did I like? The first thing I liked, the biggest element of it, was the idea of Toph going back to her roots. And what I mean by that is her going back to her, fighting in an underground ring, being known as the Blind Bandit, not being known as someone who's a do-gooder or going by the rules, because there is a theme in this work about the idea of Toph kind of being part of the establishment now, where she is associated with the Avatar, she's associated with all the Reformation that's going on, with the Earth King and the Earth Kingdom at large, but really at her core, we all know that Toph isn't that way, so she's coming to grips with not only the idea of being part of the establishment, but also going through the routines of life and the boredom of that. Like, it's like, well, I have no one to beat up anymore. Like, we know that she's that type of a character. Before, she was doing that in the Earth Rumble arena, where she was beating up, older dudes who thought that she was nothing but a blind bandit. She was doing that during the Fire Nation, when she helped to end the 100-Year War. But now, she's kind of stuck in this routine of just teaching children stances, which isn't really challenging to her. It's nothing new. And there's a lot of things in this work where we see new elements being put into practice, new development of things that I think could actually play into Legend of Korra, both in terms of bending abilities, but also like the world building of some of the stuff. In particular, pro bending. I think pro bending could come out of this, but I'm not too sure, but based on the storyline that happened, I think that could happen. Also, we got to see Sokka and Suki return, and it was good because also this is probably going to be an overlap because, of course, our next comic book is going to cover Suki and Suki alone. But it was just cool. I like the interplay that they had in the work itself, and also how Sokka and Toph kind of have a bonding moment over something that Suki does in the novel itself. And also we get to see what happened to those hippie people, the Cave of Two Lovers hippie troupe that was going through. We see that they become a cool thing, which is a new element in this book. And we meet an entirely new character, which I personally think can open up to more stuff that is established in Legend of Korra, which I want to discuss in future videos. So what did I not like? So as I said at the beginning of the video, this comic definitely leaves you wanting more, and I don't think that's necessarily a good thing. Everything that happens in the comic itself I think is solid. I think the writing is fine. The interplay between the characters and the dynamic. Oh, I forgot to mention this, but we see the metal bending students that we've seen from the Rift comics and the Promise, or was it the Search? I can't remember which one they were in the Rift. I think it was the Rift. And then we saw them again in another comic. But they're here again, and they're actually like metal bending masters now and teaching everybody else. And we get to see more of their dynamic pull off. And they used to be some of my least favorite characters. And now I would say they're one of, I'm not saying my favorite characters, but I think they're much more, or not even much more, slightly more nuanced than they were before. So my critique about them being kind of characters doesn't really apply anymore. But in terms of what I didn't like, there's a lot of things in this that were established. Again, I don't want to get into spoilers, but there was a lot of things that were established in this that I wanted to see dive into more, especially towards the end of the comic. I think we get the forward momentum of the story and progress in terms of the world of Avatar, and then it kind of just goes away. Like we see all this stuff that, oh, that'll be cool to see what that looks like or what this is going to look like, and then it's like, oh, comic's over. So I guess the issue I have, I don't even know if it's so much that it's an issue of it being too short, because I think it was paced well. Maybe it's that this story in particular doesn't work so well as a one-shot because it does continue on, or it feels like it should continue on. But that's literally my only critique of the entire comic. I actually think it's definitely in the top half of my interest level of these comics. I wouldn't say it's one that I would not read again or I was bored with. I probably would go back to it, and I think it's an enjoyment to read. I think the artwork was really nice, and some of the choreography that was a part of some of the fighting that was in this was very nice as well. So based on how I said, you could probably skip the Katara Pirate Silver stuff because it's really just an insert into the series that we already know Katara's arc by the end of that. Versus this is actually after the show and, you know, deeper into the comics. you actually get new stuff in it. Now, like I said before, you might feel like you want more from it, but I don't think it's so crippling on it that I wouldn't recommend it. I definitely would recommend it, and I recommend it more than I would the Katara Pirate Silver one shot. I think this one is a better one for me, at least. I really, really liked what they did with Toph, and really getting an insight into like how she's dealing with post-war, post-Blind Bandit stuff, and how she's navigating through life in that way. And I think that was interesting to me. But that's it, guys. I'll see you guys on the next one. Let me know what you guys think of this comic if you have read it in the comments below, or you can watch more videos here at the side of my face. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace, love, and remember, be water, my friends.